Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to be walking you through the busy men's guide to losing body fat, because I speak to hundreds of men every single day over on Instagram, and a lot of guys that I'm speaking with are saying that time is a struggle, whether they're focusing on career, running businesses, running companies, they've got a family, their time is limited. But in this video I'm going to be breaking down the training and the diet if you're busy and time limited, and how you can still get in shape. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Harry Knights and I'm the founder of Lean for Life Coaching, where we specialize in getting busy men into the shape of their life, dropping pounds of body fat, building lean muscle without the hours of cardio and the restrictive diets. Now, as you can see from the results on screen, we have worked with many executives, business owners, guys running companies, guys who travel a ton for work, and fathers who have multiple kids, they've got an incredible family, but they're wanting to get in the shape of their life. So in this video, we're gonna start with the training side of things. So effectively, when I look at guys who come to me and they say, look, Harry, I want to get in shape, but my time is limited. I can maybe get to the gym a few days a week, 4 days at a push. Now, obviously this would work as well if you've got the ability to go to the gym 5 days a week. I wouldn't recommend 6 or 7. I think that's too many. But for most of the guys that are, running companies, business owners, or, a young family, 3 to 4 days for these guys is pretty optimal. So if we're looking at a 3-day training split, what we're actually looking at here, I would recommend something like upper, lower, upper. Now, this is probably my favorite training split if you can train 3 days, because what we have the opportunity to do here is work the adequate amount of volume across the week for each muscle group if we're looking to build the upper body, not neglect our legs, but build muscle, get in shape, and lose the body fat. Obviously, diet, which we're gonna run through in a moment, is gonna be a key driver to losing body fat, but we obviously wanna be building some lean tissue and some lean muscle as well, otherwise we end up looking skinny. I don't think we want that. So 3 days, I'd be saying upper, lower, upper. Now, in both upper sessions, what you wanna be doing is making sure that you target your chest, your back, your shoulders, a little bit of arms, and in your lower session, you wanna be making sure you're hitting quads, you're hitting hamstrings, you're hitting that posterior chain as well. And across all the days, we wanna be focusing on some compound movements as well as some isolation movements. If we're looking at 4 days, I would then go with an upper, lower, push, pull split. Again, gives us a real good opportunity to target each muscle group couple times per week, because what it does there is it gives us a good opportunity to target our upper body a good few times per week and cover that volume that we need to, and also, again, not neglect our lower part of our body either. So upper, lower, push, pull. Your upper session here would be a combination of, again, chest, back, shoulders, a little bit of arms. Lower, we're targeting, again, the lower half of the body, your quads, your hamstrings, posterior chain, glutes if we need to, but then also making sure our push and our pull days. Push is going to be chest, shoulder, tricep focused, and our pull day is going to be our back and our biceps. The things that we're looking for here, though, that are very important, because no matter the training split, if we don't nail the fundamentals and the basics of training very well and train with intensity and accuracy, we're not going to see progress. So what I'm looking for here when I work with these guys is like, look, if you can't spend hours and hours in the gym, which I don't think anyone really needs to, but if you can't spend, a lot of time in the gym, make sure that what you're actually doing with the limited time you have is very effective. So focusing on things like progressive overload, making sure we're applying progressive overload every single week. Now, what that is looking to increase your reps or your weights on a weekly basis if we can. So if you lifted, let's say, 40 kilos for 8 reps last week, this week we're looking to lift 40 kilos for 9 reps. And we're looking to get that consistent improvement out of all of our sessions, because that's going to help you build muscle. The next thing I'm looking for is intensity, okay? You have to be training with intent. If we're not training with intent and we're just going through the motions, we're going to see minimal progress, minimal results. So you have to make sure you're actually pushing boundaries here. That's not just stopping at 10 reps. That's actually going to the point of physical failure and physical muscular fatigue is where we're looking at here. So a lot of the guys that I work with, they might have had experience training before, but they've not trained with the real intensity that we've needed to see muscular adaptations, okay? So progressive overload, training intensity, training accuracy, very important as well, that we're training the right way, form accuracy, execution of the movement, very important. Now, if we're looking to save time, again, that's very important, that we're looking to not spend hours and hours in these sessions. So what I'd be saying in terms of rest times, I'd be looking to say with our compound movements, we're looking for around 2 minutes rest in between sets on our compound movements, and our isolation movements, we're looking for around 90 seconds, okay? Hopefully you can see that. So for our compound movements, where we're working more than one muscle group at one time, we're looking at around 2 minutes rest to 3 minutes potentially, and our isolation movements around 90 seconds. Now, look, bodybuilders, please do not scream at me in the comments. I get it, we sometimes want to be resting for 3 to 4 minutes on a compound movement if we're training with that intensity, but listen, I'm talking to John, who is an accountant here, who has minimal time, or Stephen, who's a business owner who wants to get in, get the job done, and get out. We're not all bodybuilders. We don't all have 3 hours to train every single day. Some of us want to get in, get the job done, and come out with the results. So 2 minutes or 90 seconds rest, depending on the actual type of movement that we are doing. And then a couple of bonus tips here that I have found to really improve the actual speed and efficiency of our workouts is going to be 3 tips here. Now, these are so important. So the first one is going to be no rest in our warm-ups. So hopefully you can see this. So no rest in our warm-ups. Now, what I mean by that is you're gonna be doing a few warm-up sets prior to your working sets. Your working sets are the ones where we're training with that intensity, we're applying that progressive overload. But before that, we're gonna go through a few warm-up sets to get the blood pumping, get the body used to the movement. You don't need to rest between these sets. And if you're doing 2 or 3 warm-up sets, if you actually don't rest between these sets and just go through the warm-up sets back to back and then rest before your first working set, you're gonna shave off a lot of time off that workout, okay? The second thing that I would suggest to do is superset. So SS, your opposite muscle groups. So if you're doing bicep curls, you can superset these with triceps and not rest in between that set either, because you're working opposite muscle groups. Okay, so let's say you're doing some cable bicep curls, then you're gonna do cable tricep extensions. You could go back to back, no rest time. Again, that's gonna shave off plenty of time off of your workout. And then a third bonus tip, which most people actually neglect, again, because they probably think that machines and some big, barbell and squat racks are the way to go. Well, not necessarily, right? If you actually just focus on using dumbbells, you're gonna save a lot of time on that workout as well. Because if you think about it, you just need to pick the dumbbells off of the rack and you don't have to sort anything else out. Whereas if you're using machines, you've got to adjust different settings, make sure it feels good, the seat's in the right positioning, the resistance profile of different machines you've got to play around with. It can take time. Whereas if you just use dumbbells and free weights, you're gonna save a lot of time on your workout. So from a training point of view, if you are a busy guy, you're limited on time, this is how I would be looking to train if I was gonna try and drop body fat and build muscle, okay? So now let's move on to the diet section. So from a diet point of view, we wanna be focusing on a few things here. Now, the first thing that I wanna talk about is a calorie deficit, because if we're not in a calorie deficit, we're not gonna lose body fat. So we have to make sure from Monday through Sunday, we are in that calorie deficit. Now, the easiest way to work out your deficit, I've done a ton of videos on this in a lot of detail, working out your deficit, working out the exact macronutrient breakdown for you, your body type. So I definitely recommend watching those videos after this one. But the easiest way to work out your calorie deficit is your body weight in pounds multiplied by 15. That gives you your maintenance, and then you want to subtract 500 calories from that. So you work out your maintenance, that's the amount of calories that you need to be consuming to maintain weight, but you want to lose body fat and lose weight, so subtract 500 from that number. That's going to give you a calorie deficit, okay? That's obviously very back of napkin style of working that out, but it will work. There are obviously there are a few more accurate ways to work this out, but that's going to work out really well to work this out very, very efficiently. The second thing that I want you to really focus on is going to be our protein intake, because if we're not eating the right amounts of protein, we're not going to be losing body fat here. We're going to be losing weight and losing muscle. So protein, the rule for protein is you want to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds, you want to be eating 200 grams of protein. Now you're probably thinking, Harry, there are carbs and fats as well. Yes, there absolutely are. But again, for a lot of the guys that I work with who are very busy, they're running around the city, having to dip in and out of different stores in their lunch break, and they're very limited on time. We actually just sometimes work off calorie deficit and protein and don't worry too much about carbs and fats. Now, yes, in an ideal situation, we would nail our carbs and fats as well. And again, other videos on that. But in this situation, we're time constrained. If we can just hit our protein goal and hit our calorie goal, we're gonna be in a really good position, okay? So that's how you work out those two numbers, and it's very, very easy to work that out. You can plug it into an app like MyFitnessPal. Our members use our own app to track foods if they want to, but you can plug these numbers in. And if you hit these, you're gonna be in a great place to see some real progress here. Now, what I would recommend though as well, as once you've worked out your calories and your protein, is actually having a plan, and having a plan that you can adhere to. So what I always suggest for people is that they meal prep twice a week, because we don't want to be cooking every single day, every single morning, evening. If we're, again, time constrained, doesn't make sense. So I like to prep on a Wednesday and a Sunday. Reason being is a Wednesday, if we prep our food for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, then on a Sunday, we prep our food for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You're covered for the week. And it might take an hour on a Wednesday and an hour on a Sunday to do a meal prep for the entire week, but we've all got 2 hours across the week to be able to get our meal prep in and make sure that we hit these numbers here. Now, you don't necessarily have to prep every single meal, but I would definitely recommend your lunches, because that seems to be the meal where, guys who are time constrained, they struggle with that one. They either end up having to run out at work, try and grab something very, very quick, which doesn't always lead to the best options. But I would definitely recommend prepping your lunch at least to take to work with you. Now, if you have it in the fridge, there's no excuses. You've prepped it on a Wednesday for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can take it out of the fridge, run to work with it, and eat it at lunch. Your breakfast, you could opt for something very quick, very, very convenient, very time efficient, something like Greek yogurt, some frozen berries, fantastic source of protein, fuels you for the day. You could look at something like a shake with some berries, again, Greek yogurt in there. You could put some peanut butter in there. You know, a good breakfast takes 5 minutes to prepare. And again, we all have 5 minutes. Then your dinners, it could be something, again, that you could meal prep on a Wednesday and a Sunday to set you up for the week. Or if you have a bit more time in the evening when you get back from work, you can put something tasty together in 20 minutes maximum. But in all honesty, if you're a busy man who is time constrained, you know, you're focusing on this as a training plan, this as a diet plan, but what you do need is that plan. I believe in it so much. You need a plan that you can stick to, that you can adhere to, that's built around you, built around your time, your lifestyle, your work schedule, your social life. You need to take all of those things into consideration and have a plan that you can really execute on, because that is how you're going to get the results that you want this year in terms of losing body fat, building muscle, and getting in the shape of your life. So hopefully you found this video useful. A quick short video here, just walking you through a bit of a strategy and a plan of action if you're a busy man looking to get in shape. But if that's you and you're watching this thinking, I need that, or I could benefit from a bit more one-to-one guidance like this, like I said at the start, we work specifically with guys who are time constrained and get them in the shape of their life. And as you've seen from the results that I've posted on my Instagram, and as the results that you can see here, we help many guys in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s get in incredible shape, even though they are limited on time. Now, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. But if you actually go over to Instagram and you message me the word fat loss, I will send you a complete fat loss blueprint, 30 pages around your nutrition, your diet, your training, breaking down absolutely everything that you need to know there about losing body fat and getting in great shape. So just DM me the words fat loss over on Instagram, I'll send that straight over. But like I said, hopefully you found this helpful. And if you did, make sure you drop it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.